pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is the first night of our meeting with the department heads, and in a few minutes we're splitting it up, but it's not all done in one time. So our first department head is Sarah Lucas of the Health Department.
Again, I'm Sarah Lucas from the Health Department. We have a pretty simple budget. We have 4 salaries, full-time employees at our office that are paid out of our health account. So 4 full-time and then our health officer, of course. So do you guys have any questions about our budget?
The sanitation that we included in this proposal. Okay, so. No changes in last year.
Standard of those rates, I think.
What percentage as far as?
I think it was 5. We had talked to Chris about like what the general cost of living rates or I think it was 5%. I don't. But yes, like I said, we are fortunate enough to be very self-sufficient in the health department. We obviously seek out a lot of grants. We are wise with our spending and our health first and funding to ensure we do not have to come in front of you guys and ask for any extra money, and we typically do not. I can't tell you if we have ever in the 8 years I've been employed here, so we truly just have our salaries. If you guys don't have any questions, I do have a couple of questions for you. I want to give you the opportunity to ask me anything.
Who's raised to 7%?
I think I was gonna say, I think it's 7. I can't.
Is it 7 for all 4? 7%?
Yes, but I can't see the number on that, sorry.
Their salaries and 7%.
You got it. And I think we did insurance at 10%, which was a conversation I had with Chris, because that always gets a little bit confused.
Longevity pay.
10%
For the insurance.
for
Yes.
based on how many people were.
Yeah.
Used their way.
She said that was a pretty good estimate initially.
Longevity pay.
Yes, we had that email saying that we should, put that in our budget, so that is what we did. We based that off of our years of employment, based on the chart.
You don't have any other questions? No. Yes, Sarah,
Yes.
would the-
So again, with our budget is super simple. We have our salaries, we do have contracted employees that are paid out of Health First Indiana. We are very cautious with our spending, and we make sure that we budget things in our grant so that we don't have to come in front of you guys and ask for extra funding. With that said, I watched the Baker Tilly work session from a couple months ago. David, I think I spoke to you about it too. And the comment was made that, the council can use Health First Indiana funding to relieve the general fund. So my question would be, do you know if that's going to happen? I had talked to David Kelly, I tried to reach out to you to talk to you about it too, but I didn't hear anything back.
When you text me one Friday evening, I didn't get any emails, so I just want to be clear that I got one text on the Friday evening, and I was in the middle of something and I didn't
That's fine.
respond.
You had texted me before, which is why I was like, no, just.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine. I just didn't want you to think I was ignoring you.
No, it's okay. So I guess that'd be my question. Is that your intention? Of course, with Health First Indiana, the intention was not to alleviate the general fund. It was to help build public health services. And being that it is September 9th and we are working on our county budget, obviously we are working on our Health First Indiana 2025 budget. We've been working on that budget. It would be super helpful if, those talks are in play. If you would, like I mentioned, you David, just have a conversation with us. Let us know if you guys are thinking about that.
Used to require a match for that.
Health First Indiana does require a match, and I know you have those numbers in an email, but I can get those for you. But do you know, I mean, have there been discussions about using funding to relieve the general fund other than what was seen?
Other than what was said at the Baker Tilly, I'm not aware of anything.
They're the ones that brought that up, that was an option, and that was what a lot of counties were doing. So we will have those discussions, but I can't say for sure. You know,
I would encourage you, it's not a lot of other counties, there are very few. Because after I watched that meeting, I did talk to David, I think I talked to Keith as well. It's not a lot. That is not the intention of that funding. But it is very difficult for us as an office, me as a department head, to figure out how we are going to build on the work we've done in 2024 if I don't know what your plans are with the 2025 budget. And I really don't want to wait until the end of the month. So if those conversations are happening, if it's a possibility.
Well, we didn't know before we did that, because
Yeah, we'll have our, on the 17th, 18th, and 19th, we'll probably have those discussions.
So do you think that we should be, or should I be in those meetings as well? Is that something that, I mean,
Doesn't matter.
No, you can, but
We can ask you, you know, if you have questions, we can.
Yeah, normally we ask
be out there,
questions.
so.
You know, normally if we need
right,
to know anything.
yeah, I usually don't sit out there until, you know, unless something comes up.
Sure.
But
And we'll be there, so we can always
all
call
I'm
you.
asking is that if those conversations are happening, please include me. If you don't want to include me, that's fine. Maybe our health board. I mean, because this is super important work that we are doing. I'd like to continue doing it, but I don't really know which direction to go with my budget if we don't know, I mean, if we're talking a small amount or a larger amount, it really does change our outlook.
Right now, we just don't know.
That's all I ask, is just let me know, because I really cannot, properly plan for next year if I don't know. Questions?
anything else. I'm moving on.
We're easy, just us.
No, that's 36.
Yeah, thank you guys, appreciate it.
Sure.
Michael, they're ready. Are you ready?
Sure.
That way if you need a little longer, you have a little longer.
Okay. Just a little bit longer.
Hey, double time.
Jane. Let's see, page 4. We're just gonna go through all of the page numbers that are mine, that sounds good.
What percentage did you use on raises?
5%. 5% on the raises. And we, like, I heard her say, too, on longevity, we got an email, we were asked to come up with that amount. And that is, I think that's a little, that is high, because we included mine too, and we didn't know when it was gonna be paid, so we just said, let's just put it on there too, and
Who sent an email saying to put longevity? I'm just curious.
Chris.
Okay.
Those raises are 5, they're 7.
No, they're 5 because we have 26 point and a half pay periods. We're getting not paid 26 pay periods, but 26 and a half pay periods. Next year, 26, and so that's how we figured that. So it'd be a 5% with a 26.5 pay period.
So they're getting half of
Half of a pay period, yes.
That's what Carol said you're also.
I wonder.
Yeah, I don't know. I think everybody got emails, so I assume that she did too, that it's gonna be 26, but I don't know that.
Yeah, well, that's what the second year, how that was.
Yeah.
I know here on one place on one, he said it's 5%. And it's first one, the clerk.
So, like you can see on here, we just request for our salaries. And we take care of all of our other stuff, our sales, all of our office supplies and everything.
Where's your group insurance come out of?
It's coming out of this fund too. They come out of this fund too. Oh, we put that on there, they send out the bigger and
Staff meeting.
Now,
That's for this year, for 2024.
yeah,
That's for this year. I don't know what
I
next
think the
year.
question is, why isn't it on here? Because
They
they
told
told
us
us not to, not to figure it.
Not to figure it.
The auditor's office told us not to figure it, so.
What was it again? I'm sorry.
They're talking about the group insurance.
I guess because we're doing it in the commissioner's budget.
I don't know, they just told us
They just told us we didn't have to figure it.
not to figure the group insurance, so. They put that on there.
Clerk's office, good news. Yes, we can, except auditors for the
I don't know, did any of them do
health department.
See how part of it.
They did.
You're part of it.
You want me to answer that about group insurance? It's in the payroll process because all of it's budgeted out of the commissioners. We have to move it to the location to attach to the employees. So that's why there's a line item in there, but we move it out of the commissioners to the location or department when payroll's done. So that's why you see activity on
So it's in
there.
the commissioner's budget.
Yes.
That's what I
Yes, and we did longevity at $100 because it's been discussed among the department heads that there's no longevity. We have I think it would be a good idea and a good thing to entice our employees for a small amount of longevity.
$100 a year.
$100 a year. The way that I was going to present it is that you have to work the whole year to get it. So if you quit in March of 25, you don't get it. Then we would pay it out at the end of the year in a stipend, maybe the 1st of December, for that. That's just something that I find odd that we don't offer longevity, to our people that stay with us for years upon years. And I presented it last year. It didn't go through. So I want to present it again this year. If it doesn't go through, it doesn't go through, and I'll present it next year because I think we should reward our people for longevity. So, and then the department heads, all of us did 5%.
I don't know who all that got sent to, they were wondering.
The 5%,
Yeah, oh, no, I'm sorry,
26 and a half weeks.
26.
you guys approved the pay periods. There's 26 pays in 2025, but there's 1 3-week pay period. Does that make sense? Because we're moving from a Friday to a Monday. I'm going off the top of my head. All I know is that Baker Tilly told us we had to budget for 26 and a half because there's actually a 3-week.
So when
I'll go look at
so when
that.
you look at it's not knowing about that half, not considering that half, it looks like it's a 7%.
You guys approved the pay period
Yeah, I know,
schedule,
but
so.
I'm knowing, just look at this, if you don't, considering the 26 half pay period, it would calculate just 7% instead of
No,
5%.
yeah,
It's due to the half,
Due
pay period.
to the pay period. Because we would have, if you guys remember with the leap year, we would have had 25 pays this year. But since we changed the extended 1 week on there, the way it works, it equals out to 26 in 2024 and 26 pays in 2024 and 26 pays in 25. Had we not done that, we would have had 25 in 2024 and 27 in 2025.
Clarified, right?
Yeah.
Why are you here, Chris? Because I was gonna tell them about, I want that page for reports perpetuation.
Yes.
I emailed you today.
It's on the Form 4B. Her budget is, you guys have already approved, it's done. Working with Baker Tilly, that fund is on the Form 4B, so we put all pages in the budget book, but her page has already been voted on and decided, so that page.
That's on the report of perpetuation. It's not an appropriate fund, so I wanted to make sure.
But it is on the Form 4B, so they put all of them on there, because it is on the Form 4B.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
no problem.
Thanks, Chris.
So do you, and girls, I brought the girls with me, we work as a team, so girls, if you have anything else that you wanna say on our reporters on the general fund?
I do too.
You guys have any more questions on the general fund then?
So that there were change much on this.
No, we just asked for the 5% increase in salary. And the longevity, yes.
Does anyone have any other questions today?
I have, my next one then is she just discussed the records perpetuation, where that's not appropriate fund. So then the next one I had is on page 35, the enhanced access. Or that may, on mine it says 35, I'm not sure, it's close around that number. Mine, and then my sheet says 32, so either 32 or 35. Enhanced access. Okay, it's 35. Yeah. Okay, so, is everybody there? No, there's not much on that. And as you can see, there's not a big change from last year. This is where we get that, $1, extra pay. And since it's 26 and a half pay periods, went from 1820 to 855 per person for the 3 people, office holder and the 2 employees. And then we have the, enhanced access fee that we have to pay to our provider that provides us that enhanced access fee. But then we collect payments from our customers that use the enhanced access. So we come out good there.
I mean, how come it looks like you only spent, or, out of that 3,300, will you end up spending all of it for your enhanced access fee? I was just curious.
Okay, let me make sure. Okay.
I think it says, doesn't it seem kind of short?
Is that only through?
Yeah, I don't know when this came up with, but I'm sure it was.
There's more than that that's been spent.
Okay.
Because we have like 13 Laredo customers, and, they pay anywhere from $160 to $120 a month, and then we have to pay a percentage of that back to Fiddler. So, yeah.
This is probably only through July.
It's probably only through July, you're right.
Yeah, it's when we did our budget.
So that was actually in June, we had to turn our budget, so it's not really
So that's
showing
not
a true number there.
And then if we have, we ask for a little more than what we actually need in case there's something that comes up with enhanced access that we need to pay for besides paying for the Laredo customers.
And if we get more customers, we just don't know, we could get a new customer.
We could get 10 more customers, and we gotta have enough appropriated to pay that bill. So we just kind of projected that.
Well, look like in 23, you spent almost 10,000 in 23.
Oh, did we?
97.
Like I said, it fluctuates. We get
You spent 13.
it fluctuates on how many customers we have. Some will sign up for a little bit, they'll just sign up for say they got a special project and they'll sign up and then we have our ones that are all the time. If I have any more questions on that one?
So we still have the portion of salary coming out of this.
Yes.
I thought we stopped that.
No,
I thought we did something different last year.
no, they didn't.
It's in my head, it's on my book. Go 1 to something, I don't know what it is.
I don't know, David, but no, they didn't.
Any other questions for Jane on the enhanced access?
And it says it was adopted here, 24.
Okay. And, 36, page, well, I got 36. What do you have for identification, security, protection?
36.
Okay, and that has to do with our redacting technology, that we had to get several years ago. And then there's new technology, new stuff coming down the road that we're hearing about where we're gonna, besides just redacting, it's called, what is the term I'm gonna use? Not redacting, but shielding, new shielding, this legislation is coming down the pipe where they're gonna, and well, one is already in effect, but we haven't had a lot of people yet coming in to ask us to shield. The only thing that we have to shield right now is if they enter a program through the state with the Attorney General, then they have to enter this program, and then if they sign up for that program with the Attorney General, then they bring us the paperwork and we have to shield their information.
You haven't had any of that.
We haven't had any of that yet. And then they said there's more legislation still coming down. There's gonna be a lot on shielding in the next few years, so. But anyway, that's what that program is for.
So you're asking the same as we budgeted last year. It
Yes.
just looks like we didn't, I guess because no one's used it, you haven't expended it, all of it.
Right.
We budgeted 6,400, we spent 1,890, no, in 23, yeah.
Zero this year, but in 23.
And then we also use that for, at least one of our, quarterly, bills to Fiddler for our software. We pay for all of our software too.
Oh, it's,
This one a year? We pay one out of this, just one of our quarterly payments out of this.
oh, just one.
Yeah.
See, and that's not showing up on there again.
It's just not, you just haven't paid it yet. There's one
It's
side.
been paid, but this was in June,
right.
July, and we paid it since then.
You recall what that, how much that is?
It's around 1,855, something like
It
that.
was 1899 last year.
Okay.
That's what you spent, I know that's what that's for.
Yeah.
Probably was.
So that's a quarterly.
So you hadn't had anybody that needed to be shielded or?
Not yet, not yet. We had somebody come and check on it, but, well, no, somebody called us about it the other day, but they didn't want to go through that program. That wasn't what they were looking
How much is
Anything
it if
else?
somebody would come through and do that?
for.
I mean, is there, I don't know how that works.
Okay, yeah, actually, for the shielding program, it wouldn't cost the person anything. It's just the technology that we're gonna have to purchase to use that.
That's a total expense that the customer doesn't pay any of it.
Right. The customer doesn't pay for that.
Any other questions?
Yeah, so I was looking at my paper to see, if I had anything else to, had a little spill, but I decided I was gonna cut that down. I've told you, everything we pay for, just so you remember, so I decided I'm not going through it again, but you know, we take care of a lot of our expenses.
Appreciate it.
That helps out a lot.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, girl.
Uh-huh.
So you decided to send it
But that's why mine's different, but it's the same.
We were off, we were paid, those
Look here, I'll pay for you. What's this?
page 5, yeah. is sheriff.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe I don't have the latest one.
That one can put his salary. You know, going to states basically on.
We were talking about that earlier.
They didn't have office supervisor or anything with the budget, so that's good.
They use
Yes.
Yep.
I don't think that salary there, out, or what kind of salary is in there.
It's just better than having everybody sit there. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Get the form, have everything else. Raises are. The new budget. I just did a rough estimate, Kelly, on that, what they said to get massage and everything. No difference. David come out with this. About 250, so we would get one range.
From the sheriff, they got. Yes, you can go.
Since I'm here, do you guys want me to go ahead of your dead time so you can leave earlier?
Yeah.
I texted everybody and told them it was gonna be quicker if they wanted to come early. I told everyone to come 15 minutes earlier than expected.
You don't want to be the last one?
Well, I figured rather than you guys sit here for a half hour, I guess I could go ahead and go and get you guys out of here earlier.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Chris Hammett, Perry County Auditor.
Could you spell that, please?
Sure. My name is actually kind of funky. As we spoke earlier, I met with the department heads just to give you guys a little bit of feedback behind my thoughts on this. I feel, working and kind of being on the same page as the department heads as a group is a good thing. We as a county pay the current probation officers, but the state sets their raise amounts. So basically the state tells us how much of a raise we have to give them, okay? In my thinking, over the last year or 2 years being here, I know that there's a lot of question, there's a lot of unknown of, oh gosh, how much of raises are we gonna get, whatever. I think it's a good thing for us to have a good starting block as far as that. So my thought behind that when I met with the department heads is for us to be on that same playing field as what the state mandates for the probation, because we pay them. The county's responsible for paying that, but like I said, the state tells us. So currently this year, the state is giving the probation officers, or is telling you that you have to give the probation officers a 5% raise on their current salary. Of course, their pay is set by their education and whatnot, but you're told you have to get 5% on top of that. So my whole thought behind that was, okay, let's kind of take a little bit of the question and the mystery out of that. Let's start there, okay? Instead of having some people do this and, all that. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I thought that would be a good starting block for you guys, where if the county can't afford it, then you're giving all of the employees that you pay 5%. If the county cannot afford it, then you have to cut back. I think it just takes that personal touch that, hey, we're gonna at least try to give you what the state's telling us that you have to give the probation, but if we can't, we can't. Okay, so that's kind of my whole thought on the 5%. And next year, if the state gives 2%, I'm gonna recommend to the department heads, they gave 2%, because we typically know in April or May what the state is mandating us to get the probation.
I'm sure they felt cheated last year when they got
There were
5
years
and they
before,
got 10, we got, others got 10.
we got 5, elected officials got
But I
5.
mean, the probation got less than
There were
what
years
the
before
county
that
got.
they got more, the years before they got more. I did a report on that last year. And there were several years that the probation got raises and they didn't, and our officers didn't. So we can't.
But it's mandated, so we have to.
Correct, but that's what I'm saying, get it on the level, my whole thought is get it on a level playing field going forward. We can't change the past. What's done in the past is the past. But if we start at 5%, whatever, if we encourage our departments to, go with whatever the state's mandating for the probation, then if you guys can afford it, if the county can afford it, we do it. If not, it just shows that good intent that you're trying. So that's where we came up with the 5%. I already talked to you guys about the pay schedule that, we had actually done the 25 pay schedule when we did the 24 pay schedule last year. Because of the leap year and everything, we were gonna have 25 and 27. So we knew we were going to do a 3-week pay period and move to the 26 pays and 26 pays, but actually one of those pays is a 3-week pay period, so that's where you get the 26 and a half. Already introduced longevity. I personally just feel that's something, if we want to encourage people, it's kind of hard when you have someone that comes in on day 1 and year 1 making the exact same amount that somebody that's been here 15, 20 years, just showing them a little gratitude. So I did the longevity pay schedule at $100 a year. Office supplies, I think we're doing good on that. I get nervous at this time at the end of the year. I know I'm kind of stingy on printing stuff for you guys, and if you need stuff printed, of course we will. But taking on the administrator and doing a lot more printing, we're there.
Chris, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Is this through, what is this through? Where we have already expended this year?
We did
were
all
just
of
asking
this through.
Is it June or July or?
This was through June 1st. We did not do June 30th. It's June 1st. Yes. Yes. Yep. So it's not full time. With the timing of trying to get everything together and get it to Baker Tilly, I had to do it in June. I couldn't wait till July. So these are actually as of June 1st.
I was thinking like September 1st or something. So that's helpful.
No, one thing that I printed out for you guys last year, and I did not put that in your budget books, and if you guys, I plan on, is we had I printed out you guys the cash balances as of September 1st last year, where you guys had the cash balance sheet, which showed on each fund that showed how much had been receipted in as of September 1st and out of. But last year, I think I didn't start working on budget till July, but this year I had to start working on budget in May to get everything fixed.
I think our books were like even September 1st, maybe not.
Just your cash sheet, because these had to be turned in.
Or something was.
Yeah, your cash sheet was September 1st last year, yeah. And I can get those for you. I just didn't put them in there. I'm waiting till you guys tell me what you want, what you need. Actually, my budget is pretty cut and dry. Last year, if you guys remember, I had taken a lot of stuff and put it in clap book. I already went over the group insurance, as you guys can see, the way it's set up, that it's paid out of commissioners, but it has to move to the location in the payroll system to be paid out each payroll.
So did they just not have enough last year and everybody put it in their own budgets and then that insurance that you're talking about?
No, it's always done that way.
Okay.
We had to add
Acts like it was different.
I think that I had deleted this line item out of each individual budget. Okay, when I did the spreadsheets and the uploads, I didn't delete that line item. Because as you guys can see, it's zero. Like, they don't budget it, the commissioners do, but it's just part of the payroll software, because every department's done by location. Kelly has to move that budgeted amount each pay period from commissioners to their, so they don't.
Actually, it's kind of nice to know.
But I was getting ready to say that, and you can actually see what you've spent on each department. So, but as you can see, I didn't include it last year, but it's just changes in new ways you can see it. So like you can see how much you're spending in each department, each location for your insurance and stuff. So, but it's all budgeted out of the commissioners. What was I saying? What else do I got? That's the wrong thing. I wonder. I third so. Office supplies, shredding. That's something that I think that we've all gone on the same page with, working together with the offices as a whole on our shredding.
Everybody bring it to you, one-time shredder.
We kind of
in your
work-
office.
We have bins and then we kind of consolidate and schedule our pickups and go by there, yeah. The less we have them come, the trips cuts down on it. It's not necessarily how many bins you have, it's how many times you make it come. Yep. Office supplies, I think we're doing good. We order all of our paper and everything at the end. I will tell you that I've already used all of our budget for postage, for this year. Because I wanted to get them before the prices went up, so I was like, I just go get me all those forever stamps. I don't care if I don't use them until 2026. I'm gonna use all my budget right now.
You got a pretty good stock.
Yeah. I know that Lisa has advised me that our postage, she wanted me to budget more. I said, let's just kind of wait and see. Because I will say she is doing so good at her going through the proper steps with the deductions and verifying every year. So a lot more mail letters are going out, with that than I think they have in the past.
In 23, office supplies get 2,400. I
We
wonder what, how can
we moved money because we ran out of copy paper. I remember copy paper, and I know we used part of our copy paper money there, yeah. So paper's just getting to where it's so expensive. So we used 2,400 last year. I remember we bought a big bulk of copy paper at the end of the year last year. I think I moved some appropriations there. Travel, I did increase travel a little bit. I feel like I'm doing everything I can to assist. When I go to my Auditors Association meetings now, or auditors conferences, it does not cost the county anything. The association pays for me. I have been able to send, I sent Kimberly and Nicole to SRI training. Because, the tax sale is something, being new this year. I've been able to send Kelly to a lot of human resource trainings that, aren't free. Not necessarily having to travel, but signing up for these conferences through AIC. I'm getting ready to send Kimberly and Nicole to allow settlement training. There's a lot of changes coming in with the DLGF and LAO, getting the information from LAO to the DLGF. So they're actually going to a 2-day training, and with me not having to spend the money for Auditors Association, since the association pays for that, it's freed up money to be able to send them to stuff. But we still have AIC and all that that we have to go to, and hotels and all that are just not. So we as a department had talked, and department heads, that increase there. And then with us not necessarily using county vehicles anymore, your fuel costs are going up because we don't get that discount when we fill our own vehicles up. So. And then I did my auditor's subscription dues, off of our, that for $809 and $45 for AIC. So there's that total there. So, any questions?
Cut and dry.
Cut and dry. I will be here, working, actually going through the Form 4B. I know I sent all that to you guys. The state actually uploaded those this week. I don't know if they're there Friday. I didn't look Friday. But when Susan and I talked on Friday, they were not there yet. So they had to have been late Friday or Saturday. So I'm going through the Form 4B right now, kind of looking at our estimated, not necessarily looking at our levy funds right now, but looking at our other funds, seeing as far as where we are as revenue to budget. And so I can kind of assist you with that, but I've sent you guys everything on the other funds.
You have
So,
our books. You have our reminders. Oh,
did you?
No.
Say it? Did you slack?
What?
You're supposed to tell them all when we're here. Did everybody get this? I'm giving you the purple one, you're the only girl.
well, he's printing out, David printed this out for me, it's my print.
There you go.
Thank you.
Did you guys have, you got yours, you get yours?
Thanks, David. He printed me one out. My printer broke, so, well, it's not broke, something's wrong with it. Well, it's not permanently broken.
So there's all, you got 2 copies.
Probably use your air.
I know, Stan, that's why I'm stingy with copy paper. But anything you guys can print, let me know. I think this spreadsheet right here is gonna help you guys immensely, and I'll have this at the budget session. But this is basically a form, I got this Excel spreadsheet where we can put in with your max levies and everything. Everything else is gotta be revenue to expenditures. But you know, as far as we're only allowed to raise 4%. So as you can see right now, where we're at on general, reassessment, Cume Bridge, and health, and then Cume Cap. There's that. And then the other thing, the airport and everything was good. I looked at this this weekend. I thought this was super helpful as far as giving your projections of where we're supposed to be at the end of the year. This year, for all your funds, and currently right now, you know, of course, this is not considering additional appropriations, but I'm really hoping that additional appropriations are offset by money that's not spent and interest in the general fund. We should have all of our funds over 25%. The general fund should be at 38%. Now this is the end of the year. That's not talking about 2025. 2025 looks like you guys have a lot of work to do. But I am right there, so.
That 38, that's the interest in there, right?
Yes, and just so you guys know, I know that you guys, that was brought up to Baker Tilly. You can do an ordinance. You can do an ordinance if you want to. It is kept, it's in general fund, and that's the way I described it in March of last year. You guys remember before March of last year, it was being divided up between 12 funds.
Yeah.
So we have individual funds that's cash balance was growing, and
There's really no rhyme or reason now they were being allocated.
there was no ordinance. I couldn't find an ordinance that said anything. Yeah, and what also brought it up too was the ARP fund was one of those funds, and that's a no-no. You can't put any other money in the ARP fund. So when I went back, just a little feedback, when I went back trying to research, you know, and actually reached out to previous auditors, even all the way back to Debbie Elder, and, you know, because I know them from working with them in other entities. And they're like, well, that's just the way we always did it. And I'm like, well, that can't be it because we've got the ARP fund in there. So there really wasn't any rhyme or reason. So, you know, I brought it to the council, and so we started putting it in the general fund. Okay, so it's considered in the general fund, but there is an account line. Okay, so everything it's in the general fund, but it's
Everything from 23, or how far back
it
does that
started
go?
April of 23.
So everything from there forward is in there?
Mhm.
That hasn't been spent?
Well, see, it goes into the general fund cash balance. So you can run a history of 1,000 and then the interest account number, which I don't know off the top of my head. And then it's going to show like all those receipts. Okay, those are receipt account numbers. So nothing's taken out of interest. It's just, you know, you have your receipt account numbers and you have your expenditure account numbers. So I'm not telling you didn't spend it. I'm just saying it got deposited in the general fund.
I'd like an ordinance to be intentional with it, especially with some of these things we have going on. We need to look at it to potentially be a funding source for something intentional, so.
I think there's a lot of things that I completely agree with that on. Also, you know, I know you guys talk about a lot of things, ordinance to make people do more, but technically right now, still to this day, nobody's required to do a bid for anything over 50,000 because we don't have money for it. So put those ordinances in place, then I'll live by them. But as of right now, it goes into the general fund.
Let me see if you can run that for me and
How much
specifically is what's in that.
Amanda has a spreadsheet. Amanda Lasher, she brings me over.
I ask her for it every once in a while, but I just didn't know if money's coming out of there too, because it's technically in the general, it's just general land. I mean,
See, that's where you gotta understand general fund or fund accounting. You have your funds, and then it's not a checkbook. It's not an in and an out and in and an out. You just have your funds, and you have your receipt lines, and you have your expenditure lines. So you're just receiving that into the fund, the general fund as bank interest, okay? So when you do your expenditures, you're doing your expenditures as salary, office supplies, postage, utilities, all that. So all you're gonna see when you run a history on the receipt line for bank interest is credits, because you can't expenditure out of that line. It's just money that's going in the general fund, just like today. I'll just give a good example. Highway, there was an accident out there months and months and months ago, and I have been battling with insurance to get the money, okay? Well, Ruxer was getting ready to sue us because we hadn't paid our $8,778.06. Well, we've been battling with insurance. So yes, last week, beginning of the week, I had got a call from the insurance company, and I'm like, send me the check. Just send me the check. I'm gonna pay Ruxer because we had to pay our $1,000 deductible, okay? So the $1,000 deductible came out of highway. And then the $7,778.60 I paid out of general, okay? So that was a line item, and I paid it out of general. It's a $50,000 because it's a non-budgeted item. And then that money went into general as a miscellaneous receipt, okay? So it's not like you're not gonna see those two things together, because they're on two different line items. But it went out of this line item, but it's all in the same fund. Does that make sense? It's fund accounting. Fund accounting is completely different than personal checkbook and private checkbook. You don't sit here and see an in for $7,078.06 and see an out, because they're different places.
But what we would do with an ordinance, and that
it would be its own thing.
You would create a separate fund.
Right.
So then
It would
this
have
would
its
be
own.
bank interest fund, but as of right now, it goes in general. You would do that, then
I'm
you would
interested
set
in
a budget for that fund, or you would not set a budget, and any penny that had to be spent out of it would have to come to the council for an appropriation.
like a proper.
But I think it'd be nice to have something intentional, because we have some shortfalls, and I think that we need to start looking that way.
So, anything you guys do? Yeah.
Well, they already, plus, as we pay out our ARP money and things, those millions will be gone.
I did want to point out a couple things for you guys as you go in your budget that necessarily don't pertain to me. Sorry, guys, I went before you. Well, you weren't here. I didn't want to waste any time. I know. We need to figure out, I really didn't dive into it, but Kelly Wilgus had made me aware, as far as the cleaning for the prosecutor for 2025. We need to figure that out. Then I know, David, I had spoke with you, and just to kind of let, I'm not trying to say you guys don't know this, but just a friendly reminder that we can't go, our Form 3 that I submitted, you can't raise these budgeted amounts as a fund any higher than what's already been advertised in the levies funds, yes. Health, general, health, reassessment, Cambridge, that's it. So one of them, happened at the end of the month, like literally, insurance. I talked to David, our insurance, I had budgeted $185,000, which was an increase, of what I'd already known, because they do this audit annually. That's workman's comp, sorry, workman's comp I'd already raised. But we didn't find out about the liability till later, and we, I only budgeted
187,000, we need to budget 2,000, okay? So, 200,000, thank you. So if we if we decrease anywhere in that budget for 13,000, then I can add that back in. If we don't, then we'll have to do an additional appropriation next year. But it's anywhere, and I know that some things are budgeted multiple places, so just remember that those numbers, we can't go above them. The budget, if we add somewhere, we've got to take money off somewhere else. But we know as far as our max levies, based on that spreadsheet I gave you, we've already got some cuts to make, so. Just as you move forward.
All right.
Thank you. Huh?
Can't let your lunch stretch you want. You wanna go?
Yeah.
You
You picked a quick one.
gonna be quick?
Well, this probably will take 5 minutes.
Oh, then go. You go ahead. You okay with that?
Yeah, you're not so far anyway.
Well, they called me to come early.
Me too. That's why I'm here. I'm only asking for 2 increases. I need to buy tires for 2 trucks. And the other thing was a postage. Postage has been $25 since I've been there. I haven't used it very often. I don't think I've used it at all yet. But I've been fortunate not having to send anything off in postage. Most of it is local. I just take it there. But if they ever have to send something, $25 probably won't do it. So I've asked for, I think, a $15 increase in that, and just for the 2 sets of tires, I gotta get, that's the only increase I've asked for.
And grass letters, no, just
They
kidding.
were what?
Grass letters, people, no, that's teasing.
Yeah, mine's probably one of the simpler ones.
Some have, some don't.
It's still real.
Just don't have to do it, so. It's on there.
You know, we're having projects coming up or anything in any locations that you need.
No, he has group insurance.
No. I mean, I know I need a tire, that's coming up next year, if I ask for that, but no, I think it's kind of like.
Yeah, as far as the parks or anything, they're all pretty shape.
Yeah.
Like a little park.
Yeah, I think we're.
Do we need to take that out, David?
$3,000
That group insurance?
That doesn't make sense. Why is
Park maintenance.
Some are in and some are.
some in, some out?
Yeah, so far I've been able to, I mean, I'm gonna be taking down a bunch of trees next year, so I'm, you know. No, I got some trees, I can't think what they're called, they dropped in little round. And the mower's pulling up and they have in the belts and not my dry belts on. So those are there, mowing area, when they goes out. Well, I'm asking through the ARP, I'm hoping that a couple of more and more, they're gonna be awesome.
You find out from that.
Haven't heard anything.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Well, it's just a recommendation, okay, so then it goes from that board to the council and then the commission.
How long, when will I know something? I got a board meeting Wednesday.
We'll know tomorrow what we're gonna recommend to the council, the commissioners and then the council, but
Should I be board meetings?
Yeah.
I think I'll have you.
What we used to, this room was always busy. It was double booked sometimes. Sometimes we'd have to go over there to Chris's office. And, I don't remember, it was probably 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, the members moved it out there.
I think in 25, we might have to have all of those boards live streamed, so.
I think they ought to be either here or the annex, I don't.
If there's some kind of regulation that's gonna require that, somebody send them something, give me something to give them, or.
Well, there is a state of Indiana.
I think it's in 25.
July.
July
I thought so.
25, yeah.
It'll be all boards, so it's just,
I can bring it up.
I guess you can live stream it to move.
but you're welcome to come tomorrow to the ARP if you want. I think it's at 6. I'll verify and I'll email you.
5:30.
5:30, sorry.
5:30.
Yeah, I think that they did change it.
Anybody have any questions about my budget?
For your group insurance, you were told to put it on here?
Ever since I've been here, it's been on there.
That usually is, but they said this year, they said they weren't gonna put it
If
on
you,
there.
David, if you look at the treasurer's, it's seasonal.
Huh?
Treasurer's group insurance zero.
Most of them are zero.
I don't know.
Outside of my pay grade.
No, it ain't just cutting trees or cutting grass, does it?
No, not really.
Clean bathrooms.
The only thing I really need is the tires that's on there for the two trucks. And that's those tires at, state bid prices.
Good to me.
I think that much just get a set of tires for my Jeep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It looks cut and dry to me.
It's pretty simple. Mine is.
He's right, Parks and Recs has always had to put it in there, I have no clue why, I have no clue. Health does their own, but they're, I don't know, Parks and Recs has always put theirs on there. I have no clue.
It's your special.
I guess.
And I'm sitting in there.
Y'all are
Yeah,
done.
you were special, did you?
I did. If you guys are done with me, I'll get out of here and let you get back at it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank y'all very much. Appreciate it. Thanks, Sheriff, for jumping in there.
Oh, you're right.
I did not. My favorite. That's my favorite.
Who are you? Hi, Sheriff.
Call a lot worse. I don't know if you guys want to start, ask you any questions on it, or do you just want me to talk about some of the things that we got going on as far as our budget?
One thing, if you want to question, the internet, it's gonna be only 640 to 6100.
I think that has to do with our internet for the in-car,
You don't currently have that?
Yeah,
So it used to be commissary, now it's in the budget.
yes.
That raise, that's mandated by the state.
To raise what?
Yeah.
For who?
You.
Well, the prosecutor,
Yes.
you get a certain part of
It's mandated by
prosecutor, and then you all
I get a percentage.
calculate after the prosecutor.
So I guess I'll start. Currently we have 9 correctional officers and 2 sergeants, as well as a supervisor in the in the kitchen that is also a correctional officer. A while back, I did send you guys a staff analysis to show that I still believe that we are understaffed in the jail, especially with the populations that we have now. If you look through the jail list, I mean, we got people in here for murder, we got people in here for attempted murder. They're all in it, allegedly. We have people in here for sex crimes. We have, just last week, we had battery on 2 correctional officers. It's getting difficult in there with the number of inmates that we have and the kind of inmates we have. Mental illness is at an all-time high, and I'm telling you, it's every day that we're dealing with the mental illness. So I think for right now, I'm asking for 1 extra correctional officer, 1 correctional officer just to get us by. But with the number of the inmates that we have, I do have for you guys. This shows what we run this year, the number of inmates that we have, the high, low, kind of shows you that these numbers, I think, are here to stay. I don't see this going down at all. I wish I did have good news for you, but I don't. These crimes are very serious, crimes against people, but I don't see these numbers going down. At this time, I did have to quit taking inmates from Vanderburgh County just because look at the number of inmates that are female in my jail. So I just want to get that out to you guys to show you what some of our, what's trending when it comes to our jail part of our population. I know the prosecutor and the judges work with this a lot. But I don't see it.
When did you stop taking those Vanderburgh County? Which month? Or is it just recently?
2 months ago, we had.
We only was able to bill for one. We had one last month and we have 0 this month. Yeah. So it started about the second week of August, we shut it down.
Because we don't have any room.
We don't have any room for, you've got 25 or 26 females. Yeah.
Yeah, I only had one, and I had any this month at all, or last month.
If we took them in, we'd be full.
The female pod is just so big.
Yeah, 32 beds. That's all you have for 32. If we took in 4 or 5 Vandenberg County girls, we'd be
Are you
full.
supposed to be full that we may have to send some out?
No, I mean, we will hold 122 legally.
Okay.
But we do not have the staff for that. We've got up to 105 this year, and I never thought I'd see it in my times, but I've been here 9 years, and it's keeps
I
going
know
up.
things are getting really bad.
Yeah, it keeps going up. I don't know that I'm gonna get any relief from this, I really don't. That's why we did ask for one. And that's gonna help with our transport, that's gonna help with, when we have an inmate in the hospital, we got that a lot, we have to send 2 people sometime with some trips, or just 1 inmate, because of the part of the nature of the crime. So, I mean, taking these correctional officers out, it's tough to do. And, so that's why we did ask for 1. Is there any question on that part?
Sheriff, may I interject for just a second?
Yes.
And like we've done in the past, we've asked for the 2 places to give you guys some flexibility. If one fund could pay it, it would be better. So if you see it twice, it's not that we're asking for 2. It's the same request in 2 different places.
And if you see with those, we would be able to reduce the number of hour used for part-time. So with that help, we would be able to reduce that quite a bit. Just as well, but I appreciate the 2 deputies you gave us for this year. On this one, I was able to reduce the number of part-time hours we've been used because we still have 1 getting ready to go to academy at the end of the year, our first of the year. So we will be short then, but we do have a little bit of, if we get it for the part-time deputies, but I do appreciate that. It's helped quite a bit. Vehicles, I will talk about those. I don't want to be in your all shoes right now with the budget. I understand how it is. I really think when it comes to vehicles, I hope that you go with that original thing that I did just not too long ago with the commissioners. That is to take those five vehicles that we lease, as well as 4 other vehicles that we currently own, and take them and trade them in and lease 9 vehicles. That would reduce our budget when it comes to maintenance. That would put 9 brand new vehicles on the road. That would put, I really truly believe that public safety is having the equipment to get to what we need. There's been a lot of equipment purchased recently for the EMS, things like that. It's the same thing we have. We need a lot of equipment for these vehicles. I think that the leasing has been a great thing for me. I don't know if you all do. I think the leasing them, we have met. I know Ms. Hardy came in as well as David came in, and we just started looking at the issues that we were having. And we've got several vehicles with a lot of miles on some of the older ones. But I think if we trade those 5 in, and as well as 4 that have a lot of miles on them that are worth a little bit, I really believe we're gonna come out ahead if we lease 9 of them. And you got solid price on there was.
$63,000 a year.
Yes, that would get us all those 9 new vehicles for 4 years. 4 years, you have to revisit again, probably another 3 years. I know we looked at 2 and 3 years. I just didn't think it was gonna work. 4 years would be my recommendation to do that. I don't see the 2 and 3 simply because as many times you gotta trade that equipment out and get it out and put it back in, that costs money. So my vote, I don't have a vote, but my theory it would be better if we could do that every 4 years.
Nine vehicles, new vehicles total, that's 63,000.
Yes.
Do you get special leasing on miles, or, I know I lease and I know I can't go over a certain amount.
No, they didn't set that. You remember what they said?
They said this current one, they did unlimited miles, but
Yes.
because we didn't use them like
Right.
they thought we were gonna use them.
Okay.
Right.
They wouldn't do that.
But I don't think going forward, they wanted
They-
to do that.
We didn't know that. They didn't know. They didn't have those answers for me.
And I don't know that it would be fruitful for us to even do that because no more miles. They were expecting a lot more.
Yeah,
than
they
what
were
we put on
expecting a
them.
lot more.
So
But
that's
we
why the
averaged-
trade-in was so cheap. And that's why we can get them, we can buy them for $3,500
Yeah,
with
they,
60 to 70,000 miles.
and I don't know which way you wanna go. I just think you're gonna get better bang for your dollars.
I agree with you that those 4 really old ones with the super high miles, the 140, 150,000, they gotta go. I mean,
But
I would just like to see us purchase the 5 that we have with 70,000 miles and then get on rotation for 2 new every year or every other year or whatever it is to work them in instead of doing 9 all at once. But that's just my opinion.
you're all budget as well as ours, but I just.
I think
just-
actually
I truly-
commissioners would make that decision for the signing contracts on those type things and then they would send it to us, but.
I just truly believe getting 9 vehicles on the road that are brand new, the 5 vehicles that we currently lease, they're getting to a point where if they start showing, problems, they're not gonna be under warranty anymore. You got 9 new vehicles with warranty, everything like that. And it's gonna, like I said, I think it's gonna lower when it comes to maintenance on our vehicle. We'll still have to pay for tires, we still have to pay for oil, we still have to pay for things like that. But overall, I think it's gonna be cheaper.
So what's your average mileage for?
15,000. Isn't it 15,000 a year, Eric? Was it more than that?
Yeah, because we're 25,000.
Was it?
Not all of them.
No, I don't think so.
It might be between 15 and 20, some are less than 20.
Yeah, I think somewhere, 15 to 20, something like that.
I know that.
It's a really, now, there is one deputy, is a really go-getter, theirs are high, there's no doubt. Some of them, they're not as go-getters, that happens. Those are lower. But we do have a few that are out there beating the bushes a lot. They do have some higher numbers.
They all keep the same vehicle. when
No.
they get in.
Well, if we do this, 9 of them will be the same. Yeah. Right now, I don't like, the Dodge. Not Charger anymore, but the
Dodge Rams.
Durangos. Yeah. I know that state police are having a huge issue with the Dodge Durangos this year. So, other than that, I don't have any other.
You did budget for more maintenance, quite a bit more maintenance.
Well, that's if that didn't pass.
Okay, yeah,
That's why.
I got you.
And that was, I'm glad you brought that up. If we did that, when Eric and I talked about it, we did that.
I think that's a
just
good
in
idea,
case.
just so we have,
Right.
we know that up front.
But I truly hope you guys go with the leasing the 9. I really think. And plus, let's be honest. I think that the deputies, they deserve it. They work hard and nothing better than a new vehicle that they take care of them. If you saw what we did to those 5, David, Kelvin, you guys came in, I don't know, you weren't there that day. When you came in, how well we do take care of them. They do have more pride when they're nicer vehicles. I'm not gonna, I did when I worked for them. So, you understand. Other than that, You have any questions for me? Raise, we asked for 5%. You guys have any more questions?
And no new deputies.
No, I didn't ask for any. It's just
He's actually correct.
correctional officer.
I mean, I'd like to get to a point where I see where we have 4. We have 2 in half the county and 2 in the other half the county, so that they're never by themselves and one's way out there.
We're
and
working on it. Working on it. I did not ask for this year. I think after last year, you guys giving us 2. That was awesome. Can't tell you how much I appreciate that. How much that did help a little. But yeah, if we get some more, it would help relieving with vacations, training. We could do the training like I think we should train. We could help with some of the trips that we have to take. We could help with, for some of the times that some of the guys need to go away for training, but it's hard to do being shorthanded. So I'd like to do that, but I didn't ask for this time.
You always apply for one of those grants, I guess, if you.
Yeah, I haven't seen any come out in a while for the deputy or for law enforcement.
They'll probably, be starting, we would have to start probably towards, first of the year to prepare, to ask for. I did get the closeout from, successful closeout from the last COPS grant. So they went through all the paperwork and looked at everything that we did, and so the closeout letter came about 3 weeks ago.
I am glad to see also that you raised your fuel. I think that's what it was.
Yes.
Sorry.
We did raise the meals as well, but that's hard to judge. Depends on pricing, depends on how many inmates we have, all that, but I did raise it this time.
Well, I kind of got after you last year about the fuel because it was the same and we knew we were adding 2 new officers, so.
But we weren't for sure we were gonna get them either though.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the prices, you never know how they're gonna go, but after that fuel impact study, we looked at the average gallons consumed and came up with what we think is.
It looks more in the ballpark of what it should be. And that's just what I want, as accurate as we can, as close as we can.
And again, that's why we raised, I kinda got scolded by Chris earlier, but, that's why we did put money in there for the meals. And hopefully that, I hope that goes down, but I just don't say that. I will tell you every year, this year we brought in about 60,000 for the inmates that are held here until they're sent off.
From DOC?
Yes.
You're over 70.
Over 70. We did bring in that to the county. So once an inmate is sentenced, after 5 days, I can start charging them. And Ron does a very good job with that, getting that money from the state into us, or to you all, not us. So after 5 days, we start charging them $37.50 a day. And we do get that every year. I don't.
That goes back in the general fund,
Yeah.
yeah. It doesn't come back to the jail, it goes into the general fund.
You have like reoccurring expenses that come out of your, not your commissary, but your inmate housing that you have separate.
Yeah, we
I mean, is
had,
there any extra money there that could
no, right
be
now,
helpful
no,
for the
because
meals?
if, I can say if we did not have the overtime, the ability that you all gave us to have the overtime, use the inmate housing, I don't know what we'd do. I really don't know. I don't know what we'd do. I don't know that we have very much in there right now. We have a little bit, 60 or 70, I think. I think that is unappropriated. We had to have a little bit of that, but we're not taking any more right now until I think that it's time to take some more. I'm scared to use it.
Alan, I think there was I remember right, me and Katie and Eric had a discussion about 3 weeks ago about this. At that time, I think the free balance was like right around 76,000.
Yeah, that's the stuff we have to use. But the other stuff we use for sometimes the
Body cameras.
Taser.
Taser contract.
Yeah.
And overtime. We've been trying to scale it back just in case this period of time where Vanderburgh County, where we don't have inmates, if that continues, because we can't predict the future on that, if that continues, we're trying to reduce the impact of what is budgeted in that fund, so that we're not going, we're out of money, what do we do? So,
I don't have anything. Looks pretty good.
Any other questions for Alan? Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Al.
Not bragging.
Go
Go ahead. Go ahead. You've been sitting here.
He said. I did say late. Oh, hold on. Second page. This is just the GDX that I've talked about over the years. It just shows what kind of pretty much I started the job in 2020. You can kind of see the increase from there since I took over. Now what, I guess, now that's federal money that comes into veterans' pockets. That goes to the taxpayers. You know, that's the money that comes into our community from the federal government through what I do in office. So I just kind of overlook, you know, kind of see that it's progressed. We have lost quite a few veterans since 2020. We've lost 84 veterans since 2020. So that's good. Other than that, my budget, I think it's basically kind of the same. I did put in there about veteran transportation. You know, when I started this job in 2020, we didn't have transportation because of COVID. I did go back to March 21, 22. I probably averaged maybe 2 or 3 trips a month. Now it's 10 to 15 trips a month. I mean, it's honestly, it's getting to the point where it's almost overwhelming. But it's, I mean, transportation by itself is a part-time job. To my eyes. It's getting very busy. And that's a good thing. Veterans to get to their appointments. You know, and I got 7 volunteer drivers. You know, 8 veterans.
In a month, do you serve?
In the office or transportation wise?
Either way.
In a month's time, anywhere between 40 and 50. If not even more now. I mean, that office stays busy now. I mean, there's people in and out, in and out. And then, of course, you know, with all the outreach I've started doing when I started this job, you know, helping veterans in need. This year alone, I've housed 5 homeless veterans. I've helped 3 get into mental rehabs for drug addiction. I mean, that's stuff that wasn't done before. And if you ask other counties, that's stuff that's not being done in other places. But to me, it needs to be done. But it's, again, it's overwhelming too. I mean, it's getting to the point where it's every week there's somebody who needs something. You know, I just had a 1-arm, 1-leg veteran get kicked out of Lincoln Hills apartments, had nowhere to go. I put him on a bus on a Greyhound, sent him to Michigan to his families. I didn't know what else to do for him, but I have a donation fund that can support that. So I bought him a $200 ticket, sent him home. And I had another one 3 weeks ago in Missouri. He got out of jail though, but he was a veteran, he got stuck here. Got him home, back to Missouri, Greyhound, Missouri Springfield, Evansville now. So there's a lot of things that wasn't being done before, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's not in the job description because veteran services, anything veteran related, to me, that's everything, you know, so to me, it is part of the job.
Like you're doing whatever has to be done.
Exactly, and it's beyond, it stays busy. And on top of all that, the claims, I mean, submitting claims, I mean, that's it can be a tough one too, you know, you're getting medical records, tracking down doctors, you know, I had a veteran pass recently and the coroner did, well, not our coroner, Owensboro, was a doctor actually, did a death certificate. Didn't put anything on there besides specifically what he passed away for. I got ahold of that doctor and told him, I said, this veteran's connected for, heart condition, diabetes, all that could all be contributing factors to this death. And he agreed. He amended the death certificate. And that opens up benefits for the spouse. I mean, healthcare benefits, education benefits, everything. The kids, if they have kids, it's pretty good. I mean, it's a great job, rewarding job. You can't ask for something better as a veteran. So, being a veteran, helping other veterans. But yeah, so I put the veteran transportation in there. My donation fund is pretty healthy right now still. I got several years I can cover the transportation still, but thinking about down the road, I feel like this is something that's going to get more and more and more. The Veteran Day Car Show last year, all the money raised went to the veteran organization. We have done American Legions. I prayed, I did it for the organizations, but I didn't think of myself last year. Not myself, but my office. So this year it's going to be different. 50% goes to veteran services, 50% to the community organizations. Because I have to figure out how to keep this transportation fund. And then on top of that, Greyhound buses, whatever else might come about. It's nice to have that fund there for that. I didn't have that fund the first 3 years. So I was reaching out to the community. Somebody do this, somebody can buy this or that.
Is that when you got the ARP funds?
ARP and then other donations and different things. I had this place that was up in Walmart taking in donations, and we actually ran them off. I had the cops go and ran them off because we checked their tax ID and it came back some children back in. It's not a veteran thing. So we ran them off, and then we come to find out 6 months later they were legit. So they came back and they've been donating to us now. They gave me $1,000 check a couple months ago to the donation fund. So that's cool. But, so just other things, ARP money and different donations. So,
Do the Legions ever contribute money to you, or?
they don't contribute money to me, but if I have something, a situation, just like the veteran that I sent to Michigan, they paid half of the transportation, so we kind of work together on things. There's other times I'll call them and say, I got this guy, needs this, or needs that, but they're always willing to help. So.
What about these gas cards? You say you'll have enough for 6 months. What about the other half of the year, just through your donations?
Yes, yeah, that, I put that down.
It says it'll cover 6 months.
Yeah, 2,500, because if I were averaging, say, 10 trips a month, 500 a month times 12, that's 6,000 a year. So I figured 2,500 roughly would be 6 months of coverage. That's kind of what I put on there. And the reason I put that in 6 months is because I have money in there right now to support this, but if we wait until that runs out and then start putting money into this, we're going to be in a position, hurting. So I really start do donations, ARP money, different things. The city gave me $10,000 too towards that donation fund. I think it was back in January, I think is when I got that check. So yeah.
I gotta say, as a veteran, thank you for doing extra to help the vets. And that's all about. It's some of them are really floundering out there. So.
Oh yeah, I tell you, it's an awesome job, but at the same time, it tugs at the heartstrings. It's tough to see these people hurting like this.
That's good to have somebody like you that cares.
And then the ADA thing, I was confused. When I first got appointed to that position, I thought the wording from the commissioners was we need to add the taxes and stuff to this so he gets the $1,000 check. Like what I understood was they were going to eat the taxes, so they were going to make it like $1,250. So when the taxes come out, I actually get $1,000 as my stipend, but I actually get like $750, $800. But then me and Chris talked about it, and I guess I don't understand the taxes. So there's more taxes than what I pay, so it's the taxes that Social Security and all that's what they meant, not my portion of taxes. That was just a confusion on my part.
But you don't expect to get 1,000 today.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Is that going okay?
Yeah, it is. It is.
So you're passionate about your job, that's good.
Yeah, I love my job. I've had to change things of how I do things a little bit, because I'll be there on the weekends, you know, people ask me questions, I mean, 24/7, it's just nonstop. So I got to the point where some days I don't even look at my phone, you know, it's, don't even look at it, it's not, I'll be sitting there answering questions.
One thing about it, you ever get bored, you know your phone.
Yeah, yeah.
Any other questions for Kevin? Thank you.
Thank you. Do. Thank you.
Next is Samantha Hurst, prosecutor. Okay. See, best of luck.
But you'll see the only thing we asked for increases on our salaries. Everything else, I believe, is staying the same. In the 4D budget, the request that we submitted has I think the one that actually got submitted has a line for, possible help or for the group insurance for health insurance for $27,200. Is that what you guys have in yours? Yeah,
Yeah.
40.
40 on 21.
Sorry, we have 3 separate sheets to look at. We're still not positive whether or not we're gonna need that.
27,200.
Yeah, so we're not positive whether or not we're gonna need that. We won't know until the rates come out for that person's spouse, of whether or not they're gonna use county insurance or, his insurance. But in 4D, we get 66% of that reimbursed. So if we do end up needing it, it's in there as a request. If we don't, it'll just be money that we don't end up taking from the county that we requested. But I do believe everything else, increase wise, is purely out, purely for salaries. And there was a wage study done by, so we have a council that we use quite often to help us, Indiana Prosecuting Attorneys Council, and they did a wage study. And I would just like to point out some of these. So our victim advocate, what I'm requesting for 2025, our victim advocate will still be making $6,000 less than the external range salary wise for other victim advocates in the state of Indiana. Our paralegal will still be making almost $5,000, $4,967 less than the other paralegals in the state of Indiana. Office manager, $4,957 less. In 4D, our director is looking at making a little over, or a little right under $3,000 less than other 4D caseworkers, not necessarily directors. They didn't have it divided out in 4D between directors and caseworkers. Typically, your directors are going to be making more than your caseworkers anyway. So I just wanted to point that out. The salaries that I've requested are still significantly lower than what the wage study found, that IPAC conducted over last year. And then another thing I'd like to point out is I know last year was a kind of a giant, or a lot that went on last year during budget session. But I had gone through our budget and significantly decreased our requests so that the requests for the salaries that I made last year, which are about what we have, and that is very similar to the amounts for the 10% increases. I had gone through and I had made some significant cuts in our budget to get us to that point where we could have those 10% raises and our budget didn't go up for our general fund. So we had done that last year, and then everybody got the 10% raises, and the other offices hadn't gone in and had to make those cuts like we did. So we'd gone in and made those cuts prior to the budget session so that our budget numbers wouldn't go up, but their salaries would go up. So my request this year is that the salaries that we requested, based on the wage study that the prosecuting attorney council did, and knowing that they are still going to be making significantly less, they're going to be making $10,000 to $11,000 less than the average for the state of Indiana.
Most of your budget items stay the same.
I don't believe I raised any other budget item. I think the only budget item that I raised were salary requests.
Chris had mentioned something. What about cleaning fees?
We won't have a cleaning fee. We're gonna clean our own office.
You clean yourself, okay.
We are, and that's also, so I know you guys have heard a little bit about the victim advocate position in Caitlin, and whenever we came in to ask to move money around in the grant, the wage that we are requesting for Caitlin will no longer include any kind of cleaning fee. I think that it was a disservice to her in the beginning to make her have extra duties that she had to do outside of work hours to be able to make what everybody else was making. Especially when you look at what a victim advocate statewide is making, and she was making far less than they were, and she was making, without the extra cleaning fee, she was making less than everybody else in her office, and that's, we have attempted to rectify that in our budget request this year. And this was a new grant cycle for her. So last year we weren't able to fix very many things because she's on a 2-year grant cycle. And her grant had already been approved, and the money for each section, her line items, had already been approved by her grant. So we fixed that this year going forward. I think our most significant increase was in our 4D budget request, and that had to do with the insurance. And just a reminder, that is 66% reimbursable. So
When will you know for sure if they will need that or not?
whenever open enrollment is, which I think is usually October. Does that sound right? October, November.
October, November.
More toward the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's November, late October, early November.
I think that's usually late October, early November. So we'll know then for sure whether or not we'll need that 27,000 that's in the 4D budget. Until then, I just won't know.
Any other questions for Sam?
No, but I don't know why they have to clean their own office if we have Glenn's cleaning service here. I mean,
Maybe they don't want the land cleaning service in their office.
Right now, well, that's kind of been the point before, is that we have, because of our, the way our office would be set up, if we have things out, and not that we don't trust people, but we have a lot of sensitive items and a lot of sensitive information in our office. And so we have no problem cleaning our offices.
But is that part of your office supplies? To clean, you know, all your cleaning stuff?
No, actually, most of the time we get a lot of our cleaning supplies from, Caitlin gets them from the courthouse when she gets the cleaning supplies. But otherwise, I don't mind bringing in a bottle of Windex or Lysol here and there, so.
Thank you, I guess. We're done.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Samantha.
We need to adjourn.
I'll be back Wednesday.
Yes, we'll be back Wednesday at 4:00.
We've sent us there Thursday night and
That's gonna be on all the outside. And then this will be our first meeting of the budget. Public hearing.
First reading, right?
I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion adjourned. Motion by Keith, second by Gail. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries 5-0 or 6.